Let's all give an Imagineering welcome to Kallol Mukherjee. Did I pronounce that right?
Perfect. Thank you. Good afternoon, everybody. I hope I'm loud enough. Okay, so now that you're refreshed after your snacks, and I'm the last thing standing between a nice Saturday evening, I hope we'll keep it short and simple. I'm very privileged to be addressing all of you, young, bright, talented minds of the future. I'm myself an engineer, so I always, it's for me to come to an engineering college is always like a, it's like one of the old memories coming back. And before I start on my presentation, which talks about sustainability in Unilever and what it means, and also in the new digital world, what are the new trends and all that we need to be, thoughtful about. I wanted to give you a small vision. It's a video that was shared about a few years back when Unilever started on its sustainable journey. And effectively, it talks about why we should be looking at sustainability, and do we look at sustainability as a challenge or as an opportunity. So, couple of minutes, let's start with the video, hope it works. Okay. So, yeah. So now that the video is over, it gives you a glimpse of why in Unilever we feel that sustainable living is at the core of the business. Unilever is a 60 billion euro company, and we serve 2.5 billion people every year. Yeah? And for Unilever, our purpose is simple: to make sustainable living commonplace. We believe with sustainable living, that's the path to sustainable growth. And for us, sustainability is the heart of everything we do. A few years back, we launched a very ambitious plan. We want our business to grow, but we recognize that growth cannot be at the expense of people or the environment. We launched the Unilever Sustainable Living Plan, which is a central business model. We believe it helps us to grow our business while reducing our environmental footprint and driving positive social impact. So, Unilever Sustainable Living Plan has 3 big goals, and 2 of them you'll see are by 2020, and 1 of them is by 2030. So it is very much in the present. It's very much in the near future. And the 3 of them are: 1, help more than 1 billion people to improve their health and well-being; halve the environmental footprints of our products; and source 100% of our agricultural raw materials sustainably, and thereby enhance the livelihoods of people across our value chain. To give you an idea of the carbon footprint of Unilever, you will see sourcing, which is the part related to materials. That is the second largest driver of our carbon footprint. Of course, the first being the products itself and how we use it. These figures keep changing year to year. This snapshot was a few years old. If you see our current website, you will see slightly changed numbers. But in essence, almost 2/3 of the carbon footprint is related to the products and how they're used by the different consumer. And almost 1/4 is linked to raw materials that we use in our products. And this is where sustainable sourcing becomes very important. Almost 1/4 of our company's environmental footprint lies with the raw materials that we source. So, why sustainable sourcing? What are the benefits? So, we firmly believe sustainable sourcing is actually very good for the business. It also helps us with our extended supply chain. It's good for the farmers. It's good for the people who are producing products that Unilever uses. It is also good for the consumers, because when people are using sustainably sourced products, it's also something that they care and helps drive their own purpose. And at the end of it all, it's good for the environment. Less CO2 emissions, less water that we use, less waste that we generate. So all of it helps in making our business far more sustainable. So globally, what are we doing about it? Our sustainable sourcing goal is very simple. By 2020, we will source 100% of our agricultural raw materials sustainably. What are the big ones out of that? Sustainable palm oil is used in a lot of our products, including soaps, including ice creams, including margarines, spreads, dressings that we use. All paper and board is sustainably sourced. So all the packaging materials that we use in our cartons, in our boxes, all of that will be sustainably sourced. Soya beans and soya oil, critical to a lot of the dressings, spreads that we have, all of that. Tea, little known fact, but Unilever is actually one of the world's largest consumers of tea as a company. We have our own gardens in Kenya and Tanzania in Africa, where we employ over 500,000 people, 500,000, yeah? And Unilever, and this does not include, of course, the tea plantations in India, in Sri Lanka, in Vietnam, closer to Southeast Asia, where we have our extended supply chain, where we are using tea. And tea is an agricultural product and is quite resource intensive. So that's also key. Then fruits. Whenever you bite into an ice cream, you'll find fruit inclusions there. Yeah? Vegetables. in our dressings, in our food products. We use a lot of vegetables. Cocoa is in the chocolates, in ice creams that we use and we love, in the cornetos and the magnums. Sugar, almost in all our products that we have, and so on. Sunflower oil, rapeseed oil, dairy. Ben & Jerry's is an ice cream company, and it has its own vertically integrated supply chain with cows and dairy. And cage-free eggs. So we just talked of chicken, so all our eggs are cage-free. And we are actually working on higher animal welfare. So things that will come up in the next few years. And last but not the least, there are over 160,000 people working in Unilever. So we have our offices globally. And in our office materials also and the buildings, we want to be sustainable. Yeah. And at the end of 2016 and 2017, of course, the figure has grown higher, but we don't have the final figures published yet. At the end of 2016, over 50% of our products are already sustainably sourced. Yeah. So this is a part of the commitment. We started this journey around 2010, and in 5 years, we made over 50% of our products already sustainably sourced. This is the global picture. In Philippines as well, we have this clearly embedded in our company vision. Our company is over 90 years old in the Philippines. Yeah. And we are about a 60 billion peso company here. So, and if you look at the different ingredients that are used in our ice creams, so every time you buy a Selecta Cornetto or you buy a Magnum or something, the mangoes, the pineapples, and the fruits, as well as recently we are going into ube. All of this is sustainably sourced. And for all of this, we refer to international standards, or Unilever has published globally a Sustainable Agricultural Code, or USAC. And that's what we refer to for sustainable sourcing. And when you have your Knorr Sinigang, and even right now into Ladies' Choice in the dressings, you'll find vegetable portions like tamarind, like taro, which is all sustainably sourced. And this year, we are localizing the relish production in Philippines. We used to import it before. And we will be working with over 300 farmers close to Tarlac to make it fully localized, and in future, even export to countries like Europe. And this will be fully sustainably sourced with smallholder farmer engagement. With smallholder farmers, I wanted to also touch upon what we are doing globally with smallholder farmers. And it's an important topic because throughout the world, with our suppliers, we actually touch 1.5 million farmers who support our business. And the people indirectly that these farmers support, the communities, is over 7 million people globally. So Unilever firmly believes in improving the lives and generating better livelihoods for the farmers. And of this 1.5 million, today we have reached over 600,000 smallholder farmers. Almost 1,500 of them are actually in Philippines as well. And as I said, tea is one of the biggest one in this. And there we reach almost 500,000 in tea alone in different parts of the world. So if you see there, this is just a part, Sustainable Living Plan. The total plan, if you go to our websites, you'll find it has various pillars. And I would urge you actually to go and see the Unilever Sustainable Plan, because the journey has just begun. And so far we have come to a portion in the journey where we have worked with a lot of people like you, our extended supply chain, and our partners in research and development and marketing to drive this journey forward for sustainable living. However, if you see, We are still about halfway there, and there's lots to go. So what's next? And when we talk of digital, how do we leverage digital in this journey of sustainable sourcing? So what I'm going to present now will be a few of the trends that are fast impacting the way that we are sourcing our materials, as well as we are reaching out to the different people. First thing, when we talk of agriculture, we always think of the big fields, we think of the farmers, we think of the plows, we think of some farm machinery. But this is a compelling vision of what farming of the future is, which is all connected, fully internet enabled, where you have every portion of the chain with intelligence. Intelligence from weather forecasts, intelligence from crop yield, from natural calamities, to make farming into the next generation. If we look at this, have efficient and connected farms, what goes next? We hear of big data. Big data is now being used in agriculture. So when we think of farms being simply the 20th century version of fields and the old farmers, it's not so anymore. Everything is connected, and now we have intelligent cloud-based systems that can process this data and help farmers increase by productivities. They make farms much more efficient than before. And while, yes, natural calamities will always be there, but this will help in making them aware of impending calamities so that they can take more actions to safeguard their farms, and also improve the way in which we are planting seeds, we are getting water. You see a picture of a drone there. This is not science fiction, this is reality. Today, drones are monitoring large hectares of farms to see if there's a forest fire coming. They will alert the farmers immediately. This is happening in different parts of the world, and as the world grows connected, I'm sure we will see them even in the Philippines very soon. All of us have heard of bitcoins, right? Bitcoins, everybody? Anybody has bitcoins? I can trade some if anybody has. Okay? But bitcoins in a coffee cup. How? Because at the heart of bitcoins is blockchain. And what blockchain enables is a complete end-to-end traceability. You don't need to look into piles of paper trying to figure out what is the chain of the supply chain for our different materials. There are companies today that are able to tell you which farm in the world the coffee in your cup is coming from, just by a code. And that's leveraging blockchain technology. There are companies today, and this is happening closer to home, much closer to home than you think. The coffee example is from Latin America and from Africa, but we just heard about tuna. And by the way, there's now a project that has been launched to get tuna fishermen in Indonesia connected to the shelves. And you can actually scan the batch code of a tuna available in the supermarkets in UK, and it will tell you which fisherman in Indonesia it comes from. That's the power of blockchain. So when we think about, are we using sustainably sourced materials? Because remember, I talked of we have 1.5 million farmers that are growing for us, but there are millions more. How do we farm our products are coming from? Unilever is also working on this. It's not something that we have rolled out, but right now I talked about tea, and we have projects in tea using blockchain in the farms in Kenya, to trace the tea that is coming from our farms and give every consumer the assurance that when you are drinking your tea, you are using it from the most sustainably sourced of sourcing the tea, and that this tea is actually helping our farmers improve their livelihoods. Then, logistics. At the end of the day, we are talking of physical products. While information is nice, but we do need to move them from the fields to the shelves. So what is happening on logistics? GPS, either in the trucks or in the drivers. You can get instantaneous information where it is. By using geofencing, we can figure out whether the truck is leaving the farm, is at the farm. So when you're doing a transaction, we know exactly where it is happening in the part of the world. Scanning QR codes, so no paper, mobile-enabled QR codes. With this, we get real-time information. These are all trends that are happening. These are happening today on our sales side and will soon be happening on our sourcing side. Then it makes efficient. This is a picture from Medan, where we have a lot of farmlands, palm oil plantations. And it's critical for us. Unilever is one of the largest users of palm oil. And by using digital logistics, we are able to make our trucks go more efficiently to the farms. And it's not necessary that the longest road is the slowest, or the shortest one is the fastest, but speed does count when you're talking of perishable materials. And digital logistics helps us in optimizing that. So at the end of the day, all that we're talking of is aligned with our company of increasing sales while reducing our carbon footprint and environmental impact. Last but not the least, since I'm in procurement, so I have to talk of digital sourcing as well. Because with this, we are now able to source more efficiently. It's not necessary that we only have to work with one provider. Today with e-tenders, with automated robotic process automations, we're able to do our work much more quicker. And data is much more real time than it always used to be. And now when we think of blockchains, these are also getting into the way we are sourcing, so that we have a complete end-to-end visibility of where we are getting materials from. So at the end of the day, digital sourcing also helps us in being more efficient, more effective, and at the end of the day, more sustainable. So these are just a few of the trends that I wanted to leave with you, to think of sustainable sourcing as being more and more digital in the coming ages. However, as I always said, sustainable sourcing is about a quarter of our environment footprint. And therefore, my final point for today's presentation, focus on responsible usage. Wise Up on Waste is actually an app which helps chefs to reduce waste in the kitchens that they cook. Because guess what? When we talk of feeding 100 Filipinos or 7 billion people in the world, we lose over €1 billion in food wastages. It's just waste, overconsumption. So when the video talked about that we'll need 2 Earths by 2020, probably we don't need 2 Earths. We can do with 1 Earth with much better way if we know how to be more responsible in the way we are using our products. So the key things: reduce, reuse, recycle. These 3 things, all of us, we can do it in our own ways, in our small lives. And I am 100% certain that we have a much brighter future ahead of us, and if all of us can participate in sustainable living, then the world of tomorrow will be a much better place than today. So with that, I end my presentation. I would like you, if you haven't seen this, look at the global goals which the United Nations has rolled out. So in 2015, more than 190 countries signed up for this, which is the United Nations global goal for sustainable development, and which sets out a vision for ending poverty, hunger and inequality, and protecting the Earth's natural resources by 2030. And all of Unilever Sustainable Living Plans are actually aligned to each of the UN global goals. So I would encourage you, go to the website, see how we as a company are doing our small part in the sustainable global goals. And all of you, I'm sure, will get better ideas on how each of you as an individual can help us in the journey. So thank you, and I hope I've inspired you on this small journey today.